Because I'm happy. I don't know all the words.
Why are you singing that?
Because we're going to be talking about happiness.
Oh, I forgot. I don't want to talk about happiness.
We're going to talk about, I want to talk about taking responsibility for our own happiness.
Okay.
Because I know that we, in the first 10 years of our marriage, and then occasionally now even, when we're getting unhappy for whatever reason, like dissatisfied or disgruntled or upset, we may blame each other a little bit.
Not me.
You never blame me because you're upset or unhappy or disgruntled or something in your life just isn't quite working right.
I don't think I ever blame you. I think I probably am faster to be annoyed at you or bothered by something else that you're doing that normally wouldn't bother me or shouldn't bother me. But it's not like I think it's your fault.
Ever? Your mind doesn't take, I mean, that may not be like a conscious thought that you engage in, but you never think, ugh, if only
I got an email this
Sam
morning.
didn't do or say these things, then I would be a happier person. Or if...
No, I never think that.
Oh God! So maybe this is this might be maybe a great episode. It's just me, myself, and I.
What I do, I know that I get edgy and I take it out on you. Like this morning, I got an email from a client who said that this client's been bought and sold 3 times in the last year, and it's changed hands so many times. I don't even think they know what we do for them anymore. It's clear, actually.
I think they only got bought and sold once.
No, it's twice.
Okay.
And yeah, it's at least 3 times because they had an equity company. I don't want to get into it. Anyway.
Okay.
They owe us, they're 6 months in arrears, and they're like, oh, we just don't believe these invoices are valid. And I'm like, what? And so I was really super annoyed by this. And then you were trying to tell me what I ought to send back to them in an email, and it was pissing me off. But it wasn't you.
I was
or your
offering
actions.
help.
I know it wasn't you or your actions that I was actually angry about. It was the fact that these people were taking the position they were taking, and I was kind of just taking it out on you. But I don't think I ever think about being unhappy and that it's your fault ever.
What about before we split up?
Oh, that was easy. That was a no-brainer. For those first 6 months that we were apart, it was all your fault. Any of my unhappiness. But I grew out of that. We wrote a whole book about it.
I know, but it doesn't ever creep back in.
No. Nope. Because then I know that I'm owning something that you're doing and choosing to be unhappy about it, and I don't want to be that guy.
But doesn't your mind still sometimes go there? Like, be real honest with yourself. Because I feel like by you saying...
Why don't you give me an example?
Okay, well, I mean, here we are. We're in Tennessee.
All right.
We're in Mountain City. And I drove the RV out and you drove the truck. So I don't have a car. Right? And I feel a little like there are days where I feel a little trapped, and I don't know. I don't know that I'm really blaming you. I'm just not taking full responsibility for my own happiness. Like, we had this conversation earlier where you're like, well, you can borrow a car. And I'm like, yes, I can. I can borrow your car. I could borrow Baby's car. Baby's Paddy's mom. She's a lovely lady. I could borrow Jake's car. But it's just that much more effort I have to put in to try and do something,
Let me set the table a little bit. So there's a big difference here, because I felt the same way when we moved from Kansas City back to Utah so we could be closer to your parents and your grandparents and your family.
Mm-hmm.
But that meant I had to leave a place where we were closer to my family, but I wanted to do that for you. And we were both ready to come back to Utah anyway. So it was, but there was, and I was more emotionally mature back then. So any unhappiness I felt at that time would have been rolled up into the first 10 years. So the difference here, however, is this is like one of the first times that we've made a long-term decision, and it's not that long of a term. Technically, it's a short-term decision over the span of a life because it's only 2 to 3 months, but it's a long period.
As far as we know.
Yeah. It's a long-term decision that you didn't necessarily, it's something that was the right thing to do,
Yeah,
but it wasn't like an agreed upon.
it was agreed upon.
Yeah, but it's something that you're doing for me, not for yourself in any way. I think that's how you got to this place.
Yeah, that's probably true because I wouldn't pick Tennessee to live. I would never pick this as a place to live.
I know,
There's too many trees
but part
and
of our
it's
experiment
humid.
was going to be like the mountains in North Carolina or somewhere, and we definitely
True.
we want to be closer to like Asheville or a hipper town, but
Well, and you like the East Coast. It's just not, usually
yeah.
my vibe. But
And
but this whole experiment is to just try new things. So
right, but what I'd asked you to do was to just open your mind and see if you really disliked it as much as you thought.
yeah.
And but at the same time, we are in a little bit isolated, and in that isolation without really having the freedom to go do what you want. Even if you had your car here, though, honestly,
Everything's an hour away.
yeah. But even if you had your car here, how much more mobile would you be?
Well, more
More so
mobile.
in what way? What have you not done because you don't have your car?
Well, I was thinking of going to those caves.
By yourself?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. But why didn't you invite me?
Because you're busy.
I can carve out some time for you, babe.
Okay.
So the point of this podcast is to own your own happiness, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty happy. How about you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm generally pretty happy as well.
It's a
But this is a big change, right?
no, and it's super easy to get into a rut, where we're not making progress. We're just kind of here. So we want to try to avoid that.
What does that mean?
Well, everything up to getting here was about getting here. And now that we're here, it's about trying to help, but in a way that is as least invasive as possible. So,
Well, and this really has to be done. All this helping that we're doing, and I'm using my little quote fingers. It it's all has to be done. Your mom's really has to be the one to spearhead what we can't be helping her with something she's not sure she's ready to do yet. So
right.
we have to be so careful that way.
So there's days that we don't do much. And that's, I think, where the hard part comes in. So we just have to plan out. We just have to plan our shit better. Make sure. So it's just like anything in a relationship. If we're just hanging out with no purpose, then I think it drags down the happiness level across the board, or it can.
I don't know that I agree with that. To explain what you mean.
Well, if you get up in the morning and just get into checking your emails and your computer, and nobody really spearheads or does anything, and next thing you know, it's like 4 in the afternoon, and it's too late to kind of go do anything for yourself for the day. You've just kind of let the day go, and it seems like there's a handful of those so far.
Well, I mean, yeah, I got here exactly a week ago, right? It's only been 1 week. It's only been 1 week.
Yeah, there's been a handful of days, a couple. Anyway,
That I've done that or that you have?
well, I do it, and then you are just trying to be there for me or for my mom, and when nobody's really communicating anything, then your whole day's lost too because you were on standby.
Yeah, maybe that's how I'm feeling, like I'm on standby, but I am responsible for my own happiness.
Yep.
So I have gotten up and done my miracle morning a few days instead of, well, because what used to happen when we come here, we'd be on vacation. And so we'd get up and we'd all leisurely have coffee together and we'd have breakfast and then we'd plan something together. But now that we live here, that's not,
We do all that stuff. We just don't plan anything yet. We're trying.
yeah, there's nothing planned. But that's not my life. When I'm home and I'm living my life, I don't leisurely get up and have coffee leisurely, and I have a whole different thing I do mostly.
Yeah.
So I just need to do that. I just need to be taking care of myself and acknowledge that I'm responsible for that.
There
Maybe
it
this
is.
whole podcast is just for me to talk to myself.
We're going to
Thank
talk
you,
about
everyone, for the group
being
therapy.
being responsible for our own happiness.
But I do think I do know that couples will often get into a rut when they're feeling unhappy or they're disgruntled with something in their lives, and instead of taking responsibility for it and changing it, like I could easily just go get into your rut that I hate. Like I don't like to sit around all day and do nothing. That's nothing I've ever wanted to do. I could easily do that and just get angry and blame you.
Yeah. But there's also all these things around us. It could just totally capture your fascination.
And they do. But again, it's just a conscious thing that has to happen. You have to say, oh God, why am I feeling
You know what? It's raining
uncomfortable
right now, very lightly, but I see the sun coming through the windshield of the RV. I guarantee there's a rainbow somewhere.
Are you trying to give me advice without validating how I'm feeling?
No, there's a rainbow somewhere. I'm squirrel. I'm going squirrel on you.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're
No, I want to hurry up
you're
and finish.
passively aggressively giving me advice.
I absolutely am not.
Yes, you are.
You're telling a story because I'm trying to finish this podcast so we can go look at the rainbow.
I don't see any sun.
There's got to be one over there.
Whatever.
You guys see the sun? I know you do. Maybe that's something else that we could talk about. The fact that you don't see the sun.
What the fuck are you talking about? Honey, it's pissing rain. I see that it's a little bit lighter over in the corner. Is that what you mean? You're real mean to me today.
Somebody else's sunshine is your little bit of light in the corner. God, I'm going deep today. These giant pearls of wisdom.
Is that it?
What's the matter?
I just don't feel fulfilled by this episode. I don't feel like
is it supposed to fulfill you?
I sometimes I at least think we made people laugh or might have learned something, but I don't know that I don't know that any of that happened.
Okay. Well, we can leave it up to our editor to decide if this is a worthy episode or not. Or we could listen to it again later.
Okay.
I feel pretty good about it.
What part?
The part where the problems are all yours.
Okay, this is us signing off. Bye.